Here's a bunch of NBA things that people still believe that just aren't true. The first one is LeBron started super teams. You hear it all the time. LeBron started super teams. LeBron is soft. LeBron ruined my life. Then you got the other side of the spectrum, the LeBron fans, the one who sip on LeBron on their 21st birthdays. But the one narrative that always follows LeBron James, the fact that he started super teams. And I'm here to tell you, super teams were a thing long before LeBron went to Miami. For the first example, let's go back to Houston in the late 90s. The Rockets win the championship in 94 and 95. Then MJ comes back, wins 3 championships for himself, and then retires. And with MJ retiring, that means Scottie Pippen has decisions coming off 3 championships. The Bulls are going to suck, so why would Pippen want to stay there? And Pippen also wanted a massive contract, so it was a confusing narrative. But the Rockets, the team that won 2 rings before MJ and Pippen, they had Hakeem Olajuwon and Charles Barkley. And of course, what did they do? They bring in Scottie Pippen the year after he wins 3 championships in a row to form a Big 3 super team. And remember I said that Pippen wanted a massive contract? Well, Charles Barkley even restructured his contract so Pippen could join the team, giving them a Big 3 of Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, and Scottie Pippen. Granted, they were a completely failed super team. The team was complete ass, but they still attempted to be a super team. And that's only the first example. For the second one, we can go a couple years later. Los Angeles Lakers. So the Lakers win 3 championships from 2000 to 2002. They already have Shaq and Kobe. And then they lose 1 year in 2003. Then they freak out. So what did they do? Well, they signed Karl Malone and Gary Payton to play with Shaq and Kobe. And people think Malone and Payton were washed at the time. Malone is coming off a season where he averaged 21 and 8 and a career-high 5 assists. Gary Payton's coming off a season where he averaged 20 and 7. So these guys are still dogs. Then you're adding that to Kobe, who averaged 37 and 6, and Shaq, who averaged 28 and 11. You're putting these 4 guys on the same team? On paper, it deadass looks like the greatest team in the history of sports. And a lot of people look at LeBron and say, he started the player recruitment part of super teams, which is just complete cap. Because you go back and look at Shaq this year, he said, a lot of people ask me, what was my part in attracting Gary Payton and Karl Malone to the Lakers? And my answer is simple, I did it. So yeah, we know the 04 Lakers lost to the Pistons, but the idea was still there. The attempt to win a championship with a super team. But for the last one, 2008, Boston Celtics, they already got Paul Pierce on their team, and in a 33-day span, to add to Paul Pierce and Rajon Rondo, they trade for Ray Allen, then they trade for Kevin Garnett. On another note though, it's crazy how much trade packages have changed. Guys get traded for 300 first-round picks nowadays, and these are the trade packages for Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. Crazy. But yeah, the Celtics, they go 66 and 16 and win the championship with Allen, Pierce, Garnett, and Rondo. The textbook definition of a super team. So when you see posts like this, did LeBron start the trend of super teams? My sister's boyfriend mentioned this as the reason he hates LeBron. He says that he was the one who started the trend of super teams when he went back to the Heats. Tell your sister's boyfriend he might not be very smart going to the Heats. Anyways, next narrative. Kobe Bryant was loyal to the Lakers. I want to start this section off by saying I love Kobe, easily one of my favorite players of all time, and this isn't disrespect in any means, but when people talk about players not being loyal nowadays, then they say Kobe was completely loyal to the Lakers. This just isn't true. And to understand this one, we gotta go back to 2007, because the Lakers, they just lost in the first round to the Suns, and Kobe, the guy was pissed and demanded a trade from the Lakers. The guy literally went on Stephen A. Smith's show on ESPN and said this, I would like to be traded. Yeah. Tough as it is to come to that conclusion, there's no other alternative, you know? Then Stephen A. Smith asked him if there was anything the Lakers do could change his mind, and Kobe said, no. I just want them to do the right thing. So Kobe demands a trade from the Lakers and then says there's nothing they could do to change his mind. And even again, at the end of the show, Steve and I asked, is there anything the Los Angeles Lakers can get you to do to remain with the organization? And Kobe responded, no, bro. Kobe sounded pissed Stephen A was even asking that. And the Lakers even had a deal in place with the Pistons. It was Pistons get Kobe, Lakers get Tyshawn Prince, Rip Hamilton, draft picks. So that was the deal, except Kobe, he didn't want to waive his no trade clause to go to the Pistons. Sorry, Pistons fans. I mean, really though, who is leaving LA to go to Detroit? But besides that, there was also another framework discussion where it was the Bulls get Kobe, then the Lakers get Luol Deng, Ben Gordon, Tyrese Thomas, and Joakim Noah. But Kobe wouldn't waive his no trade clause for that one either, because he wanted to play with Luol Deng, not be traded for him. Basically, defeated the purpose. Shout out to Luol Deng though. If you guys didn't know, he's on a $5 note in London. Low-key, I would pay $10 for a $5 Luol Deng dollar. But yeah, Phil Jackson locked Kobe in a room and convinced him to come back to the Lakers. And he did end up staying, and the Lakers would end up trading for Powell, and they would win 2 more championships. So shout out to Phil Jackson for making Kobe stay. Real one for that. But for the next narrative we could talk about, Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. This is like one of the most famous things ever. Anytime someone fails in something, well, you know, Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. I feel like I'm the Grinch right now with this section. Damn. But nah, the narrative here is funny because it's one you always hear. But in reality, all it was Michael Jordan didn't make his varsity team his sophomore year at high school. He was on the JV team instead. Let's read this. He tried out for the basketball varsity team during his sophomore year, but at a height of 5 feet 11 inches, he was deemed too short. Motivated to prove his worth, Jordan became the star of Laney's JV team and tallied some 40-point games. Alright, first off, where I'm from, 5'11 might be the center, but for real, MJ makes his JV team his sophomore year not fully cut. He makes JV like 99.9% of sophomores. Then again, he's Michael Jordan, so what a dumbass coach. But good thing he did that, because then we could read this. The following summer, he grew 4 inches and trained rigorously. After earning a spot on the varsity roster, Jordan averaged more than 25 points per game over his final 2 seasons in high school. He also adopted signature jersey number 23. As a senior, he was selected to the 1981 McDonald's All-American game. He scored 30 points after averaging 26.8 points, 11.6 rebounds, and 10.1 assists per game for the season. Honestly, thanks Michael Jordan's coach for cutting him. You got the dude completely motivated. You got him motivated enough to grow 4 inches in an off-season apparently. But MJ went on to average a triple-double for his senior year at Laney High School and gave us one of the hardest shoes ever, Laney 5s. I think the first Jordan I ever owned. So genuinely, shout out to MJ's coach for that. Though, he didn't fully get cut. I feel like a grumpy old man reading that section. Sorry if it came across like that. But next section. The narrative is, Wilt played plumbers. Low-key, this is probably my favorite narrative ever. I don't know why I find it so funny. I mean, you watch these games. I'm pretty confident I could play in these games. And the thing about Wilt playing plumbers, he actually did have to play plumbers. Like, these guys genuinely work second jobs, because they didn't make enough money in the NBA. So during the offseason, they'd be plumbers, firefighters, bankers, whatever else, just to make ends meet. And I actually interviewed someone who played in Wilt's 100-point game. I'm gonna post it when this channel picks back up, but he explained how they work second jobs too. And he talks about the truth of the game also. So please sub if you want to see that. Or just sub if you're a cool dude and you're here for a good time. Thank you. I will post it eventually though, I promise. But yeah, imagine LeBron coming over to fix your heating and air conditioning. But the thing is, the better tier players didn't have to work these extra jobs because they could afford to live their lives because of how famous they were off the court. But I think when the narrative happens that Wilt played plumbers, a lot of people say this, they mean he played scrubs. The first thing I want to say is that when Wilt was dominating, there were really only 8 or 9 teams depending on the time period. This means you're playing the same 8 or 9 centers every game. So when you look at that, this means Wilt was playing one of these guys every single game. Bill Russell, Nate Thurman, Willis Reed, Walt Bellamy, Bob Pettit, Elvin Hayes, Wes Unseld, and I can't leave that he constantly matched up with Kareem later in his career. So yeah, pretty much every single night, he's playing a Hall of Famer. And I don't know if you guys play basketball or not, but when you play the same person over and over, they become a lot easier to guard. Because you know what they're going to do, you know how they play, you know the moves they're going to make. So every single night, he was playing another Hall of Famer that knew how he was going to play. That sounds tougher if you ask me. I don't know. But the last point I want to make, when people say Wilt was playing plumbers, they say these guys just played basketball as a hobby. They didn't train or anything. I mean, you'd think he's playing Mario and Luigi by the way people say he's playing plumbers. But the thing is, this actually is kinda a valid point. These guys didn't really train nearly as hard as they do today. They didn't have the rest and the recovery that they do today. But the thing is, neither did Wilt. People make it out like Wilt got to train and recover like a 2026 player does, while everyone else in the league was training like a player from 1560 BC. Wilt had the same training as these guys. And by training, I mean a few pregame beers, a halftime cigar. But yeah, Wilt was just insanely more skilled than the players in his time period. The same way Michael Jordan was insanely more skilled than the players in his time period. The same way LeBron's insanely more skilled than the players in his time period. The same way Jokic is more insanely skilled than the players in his time period. It's just easy to disrespect Wilt because he played, well, literal plumbers. Guys who had to work extra jobs. But you know the narrative isn't that he played guys who worked extra jobs. It's that he played scrubs. When in reality, that was just the era he played in. And he was way more skilled than everyone else in the era. But the next narrative. Kevin Durant accomplished nothing without Steph Curry. I feel like no NBA superstar gets hated on more in NBA history than Kevin Durant. And honestly, I get it. People are mad. He went to the team that just won 73 games, just eliminated them from the playoffs, and they ended up becoming the most stacked team in NBA history. KD won 2 rings there. He won 2 finals MVPs. But the narrative that came out of the whole thing is Kevin Durant's career is nothing without Steph Curry. Let's just talk about a few of Durant's main seasons early in his career. His first season with the Seattle Supersonics, Rookie of the Year. 2 seasons later, 2010, he leads the NBA in points per game at 21 years old, carries OKC to the playoffs. The next season after that, leads the NBA in points per game again, carried the Thunder to their first ever playoff series win as a franchise. The season after that, he leads the NBA in points per game again, 3rd time in his 5th season, and as a 23-year-old, leads Oklahoma City to the finals. Although they lose to LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, LeBron started super teams, dude. But 2 seasons after that, again, KD leads the NBA in scoring, his 4th time in 7 seasons. Although OKC does lose in the second round. But then 2 seasons after that, he brings OKC to the conference finals. So during his 9 seasons with the Thunder, Durant won 11 playoff series. Then, post-Curry, 2021, he almost carries the Nets past the eventual champion Bucks, but the dude's foot is a half a size too big. So yeah, in Kevin Durant's career, he averaged 28.4 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 4.5 assists a game in 842 games without Stephen Curry. The points per game is higher than his career average, the rebounds is higher than his career average, the assist is higher than his career average. Also, field goal percentage and 3-point percentage are both higher in games without Curry. So yeah, KD might have never won a ring without Curry, but the dude is still a complete bucket even without Curry. And he's still one of the GOATs. But after that, another narrative I want to talk about, Dirk had no help in 2011. I feel like this is one I always see. I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw this. The time Dirk carried Dallas to the finals. Granted, I scrolled on my For You page and this was the next video.
I will give you $1,000 if you can freestyle to every word I hold up.
That boy where he be at Diddy parties. Pop out with 2 bad bitches, I promise we at titty parties.
My For You page might just be cooked, but I do feel like the Dirk narrative is one that I always see. Dirk carried a bunch of randoms to the 2011 championship. Of course, there was no debate. Dirk was the best player on this team, but it's more of an Eminem on Forever situation. He clearly had the best verse, but everyone did their part. And Dirk was clearly the best player, but a lot of players did their part too. Let's go through the roster. Let's start with Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd, in his second Mavs stint, fresh off an All-Star appearance, and was a 6-time All-NBA player, and he became a sharpshooter in this Mavs stint. That guy only shot 40% from the field in the playoffs, but then he shot 37% from 3. J. Kidd, only shoot 3s, dog. Do not step in the line, it's not worth it. But then after him, we got Tyson Chandler. Chandler, the season right after this, he won Depoy for the Knicks, and he was the starting center on the 2012 USA team. My GOAT, Tyson Chandler. Actually, our GOAT, Tyson Chandler. Yes, ours. But then we got Jason Terry, one of the best 6 men in NBA history. Terry averaged 18 points per game in the playoffs, and in the 2 closeout games, he had 21 and 27. Then we got Shawn Marion. Marion was a bit out of his prime, but he was still only 33, a 4-time All-Star, one of the most unique Swiss Army knives of the era, or ever really. He averaged 12 and 6 in this playoffs. Then they had Peja Stojakovic, who was completely washed, but still one of the best shooters ever. Could just come in and hit 3s. Not counting him, but shout out to him. Then they had Corey Brewer, a future 50-point per game scorer. Then JJ Barea, a 4'11" Puerto Rican Gary Payton. And, how could I forget, they had DeShaun Stevenson. And DeShaun Stevenson's draft comparison, Michael Jordan. And no, that's not a joke. Check it out for yourself. So, that basically means the Mavs had Michael Jordan and Dirk. No wonder they won this. But all in all, the 2011 Mavs, it wasn't full of superstars like the opponent Heat were. I mean, you look at the starting lineups, the Heat should blow the Mavs out of the water. Position by position, Mavs, Heat, Mavs, Heat, Heat. Heat win 3-2. And they got Spo coaching them. But then you look at the Mavs roster, dog, 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 washed dog, but dog when not washed. So the Mavs just had a bunch of guys. Does that make sense? They just played team basketball and won the right way. And I love Dirk. Of course, he was clearly the best player on this team. But to say he just carried a bunch of randoms to the championship just feels like an off narrative. But then for the next narrative, we got Russell Westbrook stat padded. So I came across this post. Why don't people regard 16-17 Russell Westbrook that highly? Honestly, good question. But then I came across this reply. Yeah, Westbrook was must watch because of the frequent triple doubles and a couple game winners that year. But the result is that everybody was watching his games and could basically see that he was clearly stat padding. He just was. The team clearly conspired to inflate his rebounding numbers. Felt like half the boards or more were completely meaningless every game. Alright, so apparently Russell Westbrook grabbed meaningless rebounds his MVP season and should have let the other team grab rebounds instead. Got it. Russell Westbrook, that year, his MVP year, he averaged 31.6 points per game, leading the NBA. He averaged 10.7 rebounds, 10.4 assists. Yes, the efficiency wasn't great, but this is the roster he was working with this year. The starting lineup, Westbrook, Steven Adams, who averaged 11 points per game. Adams is great, so not taking anything away from him. But then Andre Roberson, who averaged 7 points. Victor Oladipo, who averaged 16. And then a 20-year-old Sabonis, who averaged 6. So outside of Oladipo, no one on this team could really score outside of Russ. So he had to chuck. But honestly, I guess besides scoring in late game situations, what the hell even is stat padding when it comes to rebound and assist? Passing to your open teammates who hit shots, and especially rebounding stat padding. Should he grab less rebounds? Westbrook even came out and said this. If people could get 20 rebounds every night, they would. If people can get 15 rebounds, they would. People that's talking or saying whatever they need to say, they should try doing it and see how hard it is. My guy was pissed that people were saying he was stat padding rebounds, and honestly, I would be too. You know how hard it is to get rebounds and pick up basketball? Try doing it in the NBA. And honestly, if you're an advanced stats nerd, Westbrook's season gets like 10 times crazier. 10th in defensive rebound percentage. Every single guy ahead of him is a center, other than Kevin Love. The next highest point guard is Chris Paul at 79, under the league average. Shout out Sean Kilpatrick though, well-known 78 defensive rebounding percentage leader in 2017. But then for Westbrook, he was first in assist percentage by a lot. He was 9th in offensive win shares, 8th in defensive win shares, 5th in total win shares, one above the guy who was being sipped on in the first section. But then for Russ, first in offensive box plus minus, 4th in defensive box plus minus, first in total box plus minus by a lot, but then first in VORP too. Although I'll never fully understand what VORP is, he was first in that. But for box plus minus, the Thunder were good when Westbrook was on the floor, and they were bad when he was off. And people don't really understand how much of a, respectfully, ass team Westbrook was playing with that season. Here, some Thunder fan wrote it out nicely. People just look at Russ's stats and not what was going on around him. This was one of the worst teams of all time to make the playoffs. They only had 4 guys scoring double digits. Enes Kanter off the bench had a similar usage rate to Jokic this season. Our 5th leading scorer for 60 games was Andre Roberson, averaging 6.6 points, which is well above his career average of 4.5 points. There's 0 teams in the NBA today with less than 5 guys putting up double digits, much less only having 4. Damn. But for real, my takeaway from this paragraph, what the hell do you mean Enes Kanter had a similar usage rate to Nikola Jokic that year? Genuinely, can someone please explain that to me in the comments? Please. But yeah, Russell Westbrook in 2017, don't let people tell you he was a stat padder. He was elite. But next one, the narrative, it's one you always hear. Steve Nash stole MVP awards from other players. So Steve Nash won his MVPs in 2005 and 2006. Let's look at his stats from those. 05, 15.5 points per game, 11.5 assists, 50% from the field, 44% from 3, 92% from the line. And then the year after that, 18.8 points, 11.6 assists, 53% from the field, 46% from 3, and 90% from the line. Alright, unless you have negative ball knowledge, these 2 years are insane stat lines. But because he didn't average 30 points per game, a lot of people think Nash stole these MVPs from the Kobe's, Shaq's, LeBron's, Chris Kamens of the world. I mean, Shaq said it himself. LeBron and myself are similar. We could be MVP every year, but the voters don't give it every year, and he's already got 4. Kobe should have won 3 too. I should have won the 2 Steve Nash got over me. It pisses me off. Nash knows. Honestly, that's so true, Shaq. Me, you, and LeBron really could win MVP every year. But for Nash, this is how it went. 2005, the Suns go 62-20, the best offense in the NBA by far. Nash wins MVP. And then the next year, no one obviously expects a Nash repeat, but the Suns, their second best player, Amari Stoudemire, he misses the whole season, and the Suns offense really doesn't miss a beat. They go 54-28. Nash's stats improve, so they give Nash another. And this was the year Kobe actually averaged 35 points per game, so a lot of people thought Kobe should have won MVP this season, but Kobe actually came in 4th in the MVP voting. Nash, first, 57 of the first place votes. LeBron, second, 16 first place votes. Dirk, third, 14 first place votes. Kobe, 4th, though he did get 22 first place votes. The rest of the voters, I guess, didn't place him at the top 3, so he finished 4th in total points. But honestly, shout out to Elton Brand, man. 1 first place vote. Whoever gave him that vote should be in prison in Alcatraz. But shout out to Elton Brand. But then you look at these 4-player stats. Nash, 18, 4, and 10 on 51, 44, 92 shooting splits. The Suns went 54-28, second in the West. LeBron, 31-7-6 on 48-33-74 splits. The Cavs went 50-32, fourth in the East. Dirk, 26-9-3 on 48-40-90 splits. The Mavs went 60-22, fourth in the West. And then Kobe, 35-5-4 on 45-35-85 splits. The Lakers went 45-37, seventh in the West. So yeah, Nash was by far the most efficient, but Dirk honestly wasn't too far behind. Nash was the best facilitator, LeBron was the best all around, Kobe scored the most points, but because Amari Stoudemire went down with an injury, only playing 3 games that season, people didn't have real expectations for the Suns. And then Nash has a career year. The Suns win 54 games. So yeah, Nash, he does his best Tyler Kolek impression that season and has one of the best point guard seasons ever. And if you guys enjoyed this, I would genuinely appreciate if you guys could subscribe. It's genuinely the only thing that tells me you guys want me to go all in on this channel. Thank you guys for watching.